How's it going, guys? So, the Global Grindcore Alliance Virtual Fest 2.0 took place this last Saturday, the 29th of May. Now, before I go into any detail about it, I'm going to show you some of my highlights from the festival, and then after that we'll discuss it a bit. All right, you enjoy that. I'm going to go make a coffee. Oh, what are you doing here? Get back in there, man. I'm still making that coffee. See you. Alright, you're back. So while the coffee's brewing, I'm going to get into some of my thoughts about the GGA Fest. Yes, that's what I'm calling it because it's a long-ass name. So firstly, I really enjoyed how it gave a platform and a spotlight to lesser known bands. You know, within the grindcore scene, even like OGs can pretty much be unknown. Tons of times in the chat I'll be like, see people saying, I've never heard of this band before, and people will be like, well, these guys have been around for 20 years, and you're like, cool. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So yeah, on to point number 2. Oh, coffee's done. And we're back with the coffee. What a delicious brew. Okay, so second thing I really enjoyed about the festival was the DIY attitude it had. Now, obviously, grindcore scene is very DIY. It goes without saying. But, you know, this festival, it relied on the bands to pretty much do all the work, filming, production, because the Global Grindcore Alliance Festival is put on by the Gurkha Blast Beat Commando. The Gurkha Commando Blast Beat. Basically, I think it's pretty much like 2 or 3 of the guys from Chapang, the Nepalese grind band who now lives in New York. So it doesn't have the budget like other festivals have, and like I'm talking about like Roadburn Redux or whatever other online festivals you've been watching. You know, some of these festivals have government backing and, you know, make way more money than normal. This was just done by one of the guys from Japan, I believe. You know, so I thought that was really cool, and it kind of highlighted the talent around the world, and with some of the footage you've seen, you know, these done by the band and their friends. And to me, it's on par with some of these other bigger festivals that have a way bigger budget. So yeah, I really liked that feel about it. Number 3, I really enjoyed the community feeling that the festival had, and that's probably also due to the fact that Bandcamp has a fantastic platform with a solid chat feature and you know, a merch table, so that when people buy merch, it pops up in the chat. So it kind of feels like one of your friends popped off to get some merch and he's back and he's like, well, what did I miss? And you're like, I don't know, man. People just keep saying Bruce Campbell or whatever in the chat. But I also had a feeling of, and I'm going to use a word that I've only just recently learned, communitas, which is basically people from different cultures and backgrounds and ethnicities coming together, unified to enjoy a single experience. You know, fireworks is one of those things, and in this case, grindcore. I really enjoyed that, and I think in this day and age, that's what we need going further, into time, into the great unknown. So yeah, it definitely had a good community feel to it, which really enjoyed. The final point I'd like to make, and this is just something I'd like to see happen in the future, is I'd like to see individual members from around the world in the grindcore scene. I mean, you know, maybe pick up the banner and host their own GGA festivals, obviously with permission from the original organizers, in hopes to maybe, you know, put a spotlight on individual scenes from around the world. You know, like Southeast Asian scene could have one, and, you know, highlight some of the smaller upcoming grindcore bands there, and hopefully raise funds to inject that back into the scene. Because if that's one thing that I noticed over these 2 festivals, actually, was that a lot of bands, they probably are out of pocket trying to get the practice space, and, you know, they had to pay for a videographer. Like, this stuff can't come cheap, and I just think it would be a good way to, you know, build up the scene. you know, and expose people to different types of grindcore. You know, for instance, like definitely the South American grind is different from the Southeast Asian grind. The differences are fairly subtle, but they do exist. So that would be really cool. And while we're on the topic of South American grind, if I want to predict something, I reckon we're going to see some pretty big like things coming from there. Like considering like if bad governments produce good rock, definitely look at Brazil. It's going to be great grindcore coming from there. Anyway, peace out. Enjoy.